Okay, we've been going through Judges. I'm going to complete Judges 8 this week. We're going to talk about Gideon a little bit more. Have you ever had a locked cabinet or trunk or even a shed or a room, and you've come up to it and you're like, what's going on? Even at your own house, come across one of these things that you may have even locked up and you forgot what it was. And you're like, what is in here? And that feeling of there's something hidden here and I want to know what it is. And once you find that key, you go through your drawer of keys, we all have it, and you try every one, and you find that key, and you unlock it, and you open that thing, and there's something that you'd forgotten, or lost, or never knew you even had. It's such a feeling, and I had that feeling this week as I was studying Judges again, and reading this, because I was reading it, and I'm like, this doesn't seem to match what is being said. So there's a key in here, a key. And when we find it, I hope you get as excited about it as I do. Let's start reading Judges 8, 22 through 27. Then the men of Israel said to Gideon, "Rule over us, both you, your son, and your grandson also, for you have delivered us from the hand of Midian." But Gideon said to them, "I will not rule over you, nor shall my son rule over you. Jehovah shall rule over you." We talked about that last week a little bit, didn't we? So we're starting there. Then, in some translations it might say, "Yet Gideon said to them, I would like to make a request of you, that each of you would give me the earrings from his plunder." For they had golden earrings because they were Ishmaelites. So they answered, "We will gladly give them." And they spread out a garment, and each man threw into it the earrings from his plunder. Now the weight of the gold earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, besides the crescent ornaments, pendants, and purple robes, which were of the kings of Midian, and besides the chains that were around the camels' necks. Then Gideon made it into an ephod and set it up in the city, Orpha, and all Israel played the harlot with it there. It became a snare to Gideon and to his house. Now first, I wanted to bring some examples because I'm a see it kind of person. I want to see exactly what the Bible is talking about. So I broke it down into what a shekel is. First off, this is a troy ounce. This is what, when we say silver or gold is worth this much, this is what they're talking about. This piece right here. So I want to pass it around. Please make sure I get it back. It's not worth that much, but it is mine. I prefer. So
take it for a pickle.
For a shekel is about a third of an ounce, a troy ounce. So this would be the two of these coins together. If you hold them in your hand, this would be about the weight of a shekel. So, if we remember, last week we talked about 120,000 men were killed, and there were still 15,000 on the run. They caught those men and they were killed. If they took an earring from all of those men, 135,000, up to 135,000 men, this would be, one earring would be about a tenth of this. So 10 earrings would weigh about this much. This is a gram. So We're not talking that much to ask from these people. They had no problem with it. It wasn't something, it was about $6 in value of gold right now, today. That's how much this earring would have been if we broke it down. 1,700 shekels is 42.5 pounds of gold. I always thought it would be way more than that. 1,700 shekels sounds like a lot, right? Don't get me wrong, that's a lot of gold. In today's value, that would be $1,190,635.60 worth of gold. That alone. And that was just the earrings, remember. They also had the pendants and the chains that were on the camels. Now, I believe that when it says, it said besides this other weight, I believe the only thing that went into the weight of the ephod was the earrings. I can't prove that, but I'm assuming that. But even if it was double that, we're still only talking 80 pounds. So, that being said, I think that some of that actually went to Gideon.
Yes.
It says in verse 27 that the people played the harlot. The people played the harlot. And it was a snare to Gideon and his family. What was the snare to Gideon and his family? So first, let's talk about playing the harlot. Let's look at Exodus 20, 4 through 5. Can anyone tell me what Exodus 20 is?
10 Commandments?
The 10 Commandments, thank you. So in Exodus 20, 4 and 5, we read this commandment. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, Jehovah your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me. Then let's turn to Exodus 32, 1 through 5. Now when the people saw that Moses delayed coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together to Aaron and said to him, Come, make us gods that we shall go before us. Come make us Elohims, so that that shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. And Aaron said to them, Break off the golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. So all the people broke off the golden earrings, which were in their ears, and brought them to Aaron. And he received the gold from their hand, and he fashioned it with an engraving tool, and made it a molded calf. Now listen to what he says. Then they said, This is your God, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Egypt. So when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made a proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to Jehovah. Who were they building the golden calf to? Jehovah. They were trying to use it as a thing to communicate to God. What did God expressly tell them not to do? Make a thing to communicate to me. That is not what they are to do. Gideon has done the same thing. He made this ephod. I believe he intended it for God. I believe he intended it as a memorial. But we all know that it doesn't matter intentions. It matters the heart of a man. So, let's continue on and see if we can see The heart of Gideon. Going back to Judges 8, verses 28 through the end of the chapter. Thus Midian was subdued before the children of Israel, so that they lifted their heads no more, and the country was quiet for 40 years in the days of Gideon. Then Jerubbaal, remember that's Gideon's name still, it's just another name for him, the son of Joash, went and dwelt in his own house. Gideon had 70 sons who were his own offspring, for he had many wives, and his concubine, who was in Shechem, also bore him a son, whose name he called Abimelech. Now Gideon, the son of Joash, died at a good old age, and was buried in the tomb of Joash, his father, in Orpha of the Abiezrites. So it was, as soon as Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel again played the harlot with the Baals and made Baal Bereth their god. Now notice, it's saying they played the harlot again, this time with other gods. Baal Bereth, just as a side note, means Lord. Baal means Lord. Bereth means of the covenant. So this is the Lord of the covenant, which sadly they've forgotten the covenant they made with their own God and looked them to another false god for that. Thus the children of Israel did not remember Jehovah their God, who had delivered them from the hands of all their enemies on every side. Nor did they show kindness to the house of Jerubbaal in accordance with the good he had done for Israel. What was the snare to Gideon and his family? Despite saying in verse 23, I'll go back to that. I will not rule over you, nor shall my son rule over you. Jehovah shall rule over you. Despite saying that, Gideon had set himself up as a king. I'm not saying he was a king. I'm not saying he was anointed king. I'm not saying that. But he has set himself up as the king. Taking the tribute of the people, one, having a family the size that he did, two, he took on more wives than he should have. And I don't know if you caught the key. The key is up here. Abimelech. Abimelech. This Hebrew word, he named his son Abimelech. Let me pronounce it to you correctly, and maybe you can see what the two words are here. Abimelech. Abimelech is how you'd really say it in Hebrew. Abi, anyone? Daddy Molech. But don't forget, Molech is a word.
Molech is a
What? Say that, Ann. Say the word. This gives me goosebumps every time.
King.
King. My father is king. Look at who named Abimelech. Gideon. Who is Abimelech's father? Gideon. What is he calling himself? King. This is why it's so important that we study the Hebrew words and look at them, because it gives us an insight that we cannot see in the reading alone. I'm not trying to say that it's a hidden thing. Don't get me wrong. It's there for us to see. But we can't see it if we don't know it. And it took me a long time searching. I was like, there's something here. There's a key. I am missing. I need to unlock this mystery. And I just searched it. I just kept searching through the Strongs. And it was like, wow, it's here. It's here. Gideon said one thing and did another. We need to remember two things. Come on, fingers. The intentions of our heart, we may think are sincere, but our heart is a wicked, deceitful thing. We can turn it around and say, this is what I meant to do. This is what I wanted to happen. But we can't rest on that. It is our actions that matter. So lastly, I want to talk about the heart. Please turn with me. And I hope you see that this was Gideon's heart that was fallible. It was the thing that what he said and what he did didn't match. Turn with me to Jeremiah 17, verses 9 and 10. The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, Jehovah, search the heart, I test the mind, even to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings. Not according to what you say, not according to what you intend, but what you do. The ways, your fruits. Turn with me to Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. Can anyone tell me what the word diligence means? I should see my kids. We just talked about this last night. Anyone? Mary? Huh?
Keep at it.
Keeping at it. Yes, diligence and perseverance are similar things. So, I'm sorry, 4:20. Keep your heart with all diligence. That means continue to pay attention to what it is leading, how it is leading you, because out of it springs all issues of life. And last, I wanted to look at Matthew 5:8. And this is the Sermon on the Mount. And it's just one of the things that Yeshua points out. But I want you to hear it. Yeshua said to him, no, that's not it. That's John. Got to go to the right chapter, or right book. Matthew 5:8. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. That's not the one.
5:8.
5:8, yes, you're right. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Remember, be a person who strives to have a pure heart. Shabbat Shalom.